All right, we have returned from the first of 2 races at Carolina Motorsports Park. CMP's great place. We love to go there. They always have great bribes. Oh, this time the Moonshine, they came with a moon pie Moonshine.
Not so good.
Don't know about that.
No.
I love this stuff. I'm at the track because this tastes just like a moon pie with a kick.
And we had a couple of new penalties. There was the boxing penalty done lemon style, and there was the social media penalty where a team came in. They had to create a Facebook page with the name of why their team is so terrible, and they could not leave until they got 55 likes. Brilliant!
But terrible was the death of the Grim Reaper. This is a team with a Mustang V6 Mustang, which has done incredibly well. This was
For
like
an incredibly long time.
Yeah, and this is like the 25th race, I think, on that car, 24 of which were on the same drivetrain.
Yep.
They finally got run into by some dudes in a Contour, and it bent the car all up. It might be dead. If so, that would be butt terrible.
Honk.
Yeah.
On the subject of grim reaping, I just got to mention the Where's the Dirt Chevy S10, which was, this close to the I Got Screwed.
Yeah, so this Chevy S10, we posted it on Lemon's Instagram when it showed up for tech. It was a 4.3 V6. It was a 5-speed.
Yeah.
Somebody, of course, commented, man, that gonna be fast. Everybody else, y'all better watch out.
Yeah. And it was fast. It was fast to blow up. Everything that could have gone wrong on this car absolutely went wrong. They barely even got on the track. When they did get on the track, turn 2, the thing completely exploded. Oh, those poor bastards. And we always say you should never give up in Lemons. We might need to rethink that for these poor guys.
And on the subject of General Motors, we had a small but very notable collection of GM machines at this race.
Refined, high-performance automobiles.
Really just, there was a Bird, there was a Monty, there was an Impala.
It was all the GM performance legends is what it was. It was like a convention.
Standing arrow straight like a rock, charging from the gate like a rock, carrying the weight like a rock.
There was a very exciting finish at this race too, which was the race for the win between the Knox Vegas Lowballers and their Ford Contour made up to look like Ken Block's Mustang, which is a fabulous car and also a very fast car, and the SOB, which variously stands for skating on by,
south of the border.
South of the border. They make up lots of things, but regardless, the team SOBs. Now, these are great guys. They are great drivers. It is a great team, and somehow they have always managed to not win.
I have 2 4th place finishes, 2 3rd place finishes, 3 2nd place finishes, no wins.
Yeah, and these are always, kind of neck and neck, and they just were never able to pull it out. So this was very exciting, and we were all, this is going to be the same story as always. Those poor bastards, au contraire, they did it. SOB finally won, many years in coming, and very well earned. And guys, good luck doing that again.
The Heroic Fix trophy went to the low dollar escorts, and this bunch of poor bastards. They went out, they got a circle track car, which is
always a bad idea.
Yeah, and what is it about circle track cars? It's like you only have 2 choices of car. It's either an 81 Monte Carlo or an 87 Escort GT. Yeah. This was the latter. It was an orange 87 Escort GT that they had pulled out of a field. It had everything wrong with it. It had no engine. It had no brakes. It had a bad roll cage. And they just wouldn't stop working on it. They got some help from their pit neighbors, the Loose Lug Nut Racing Nissan Maxima team out of Atlanta, who also took the time out to cook us filet mignon dinner. So they're definitely on our good side. The Escort dudes, they would go out, they would break something. They would come in, they would fix it. They would go out, they would break something different. They'd come in, they'd fix it. They never gave up, and the whole effort was just incredibly heroic.
The I Got Screwed trophy, the less said about this, the better. Basically, the story culminates with this thing had so much blow by, their solution was a giant fuel filler tube with a gym sock stuck in it to filter out the fumes. Don't let us catch you doing this, but since they did not turn into a giant Molotov cocktail, I can now say retroactively, that was brilliant.
Judge's choice was maybe one of the more hilarious judge's choices in recent memory. It was a brand new team, Balls Deep Racing, number 69, of course. The team captain introduced their drivers. Well, over there we got Dick Johnson, and right there is Teddy Tugs a lot. And they had a Chevy Impala that was a 2006 flood victim Chevy Impala. I mean, this is a car that you rented on your last vacation to New York City like 4 years ago, and here it was racing in lemons. This car had bad tires, it had bad suspension. The guy actually owned a transmission shop, so that one weak point was actually okay. And it just drove around. Every time the guy showed up, he had something funny to say about his team and or his terrible Chevy Impala. It impressed me, it impressed the judge's choice.
Equally impressive, the org choice, this is getting to be sort of a title to defend, was terminally confused. Once again, Curtis made barbecue for absolutely everybody. He fixed a whole bunch of cars all over the paddock, but I think best of all, and what made this sort of an institutional honor at CMP for these guys now, he had his homemade, dare I say, ghetto-charged, solar-powered cool suit to keep him comfortable while barbecuing. You just, oh, so good.
And that takes us to the index of effluency. Now, this went to Duff Beer, who are longtime Lemons competitors and in recent years have been competing in a somewhat successful electric car.
Somewhat being the operative term there, and by somewhat we mean not at all.
Right, and so this is an actual factory electric car called the Jet Electrica 007, and it's from the early 80s. It was based on a Plymouth Horizon TC3.
By factory, what that means is there was a building where they took a Horizon TC3, they took the motor and threw it in a junkyard where it belonged, and then they put a bunch of lead-acid car batteries.
Right,
that was the factory.
Exactly.
Probably not UAW.
And it still had some interesting features that I wasn't aware of, such as a Volkswagen transmission, which is actual original equipment for a Plymouth Horizon TC3. Anyway, the whole thing is ridiculous. And they've been steadily making improvements, and this time they went and they bought in bulk, from some kind of sketchy electric car salvage yard, a bunch of Chevy Volt batteries. Now this increases their current, increases their speed. They've got a new engine hoist based quick change battery system, and the whole thing is actually sort of respectable as a car. And they went out there on track, and instead of being just a totally dangerous rolling speed block, they were just merely the slowest
slow car
on the track, right?
Which is a big improvement.
And actually, they were close enough in speed to their next closest competition, which of course is the Lunar Lemon Chevy Astro
Of course
van.
it was,
That the driver says, you know what? I'm gonna pass those dudes. And so of course it doesn't make that noise. That's what's happening in the guy's head. And the battery temperature warning is going up. The amp meter is going crazy. And you know what? I've got the red mist. I'm gonna pass this Chevy Astro van. He passes it. The thing goes up in a shower of sparks. They're pitted for 17 hours trying to fix it. And was it worth it? He said, yep.
I actually think the best thing about this, at CMP, there is a silent hour on Sunday from 11 to 12 because apparently the snake handlers cannot be disturbed between 11 and 12. I don't know why, but that's the deal. So no race motors. So these guys came to me before the race and said, hey, we don't make any noise, so can we stay out there and rack up laps during the quiet hours? I said, hell yeah! So they just went out there. Best performance of the weekend. Brilliant. Lemons in a nutshell?
That's it.
Okay.
Lemons in a nutshell.
Look, this is what happens when you try and hang with a duff car. You're my bitch. Better luck next time.
American muscle! Ooh yeah!